Hello, welcome to the Trews. This is one of those stories coming out of America about the police murdering a person that makes you think that society is falling apart around our ears.
Another case of police brutality in the United States.
Even the bloke doing the report sounds a bit bored by the violence, like it's not worth saying it anymore, like it's like a traffic report. Over on the M1, there's been some police brutality. Police brutality in Leicester is at a high today because of a tide of racism coming in from the old days.
This time, a homeless black man has been fatally shot.
It's weird, isn't it, that you have to put the adjectives homeless and black in front of it to sort of go, oh right, that makes more sense now. I thought it might be a white person with a house, then I might be interested in it. The story is of a black homeless man being murdered by police in Skid Row. Police officers say they opened fire after the man tried to grab a gun from an officer. It's like you have to reverse engineer the lie. Because there's such a climate of boring degrees of police brutality, it's like, well, what was it this time, guys?
Fatally shot by police officers in Los Angeles.
The footage itself shows you what the problem is in essence. So that the police force in certain sections are out of control, and there are sections of society or members of the human community whose life doesn't have value. Their life doesn't have value. What you can see how they're treated is just like, there's this thing cluttering up the street, get rid of it. And whilst it explodes in highly visceral and symbolic moments like this or Rodney King, mostly when the spectacle is captured, it is endemic and indicative of a much broader problem. And how is this a capitalism problem? How is this a consumerism problem? Well, once you outsource labour, once you don't require a manufacturing industry, you've got a huge percentage of the population that used to have a function, but now big business and big corporations don't need those people anymore. So the people that enforce the society that sector requires, big business, the police that enforce that society, have to clear up the human litter, the detritus, the human trash, and every so often that becomes unbearable. Of course, homelessness, full stop, is unacceptable. Racism, full stop, is unacceptable. But we've been trained to just sort of accept it. It's only when it tears through absolute taboo, like in this case, that we're sort of forced to go, right, okay, that's a galling level of brutality and racism. We have to now address it. Shocking though that is, the image of policemen in that uniform, sort of in a kind of weird, chaotic, almost slapstick bundle, and then a black person getting murdered is sort of like, oh, there's that thing again.
Oh my God!
God damn! Oh fuck! Oh fuck!
On normal news, the swearing will have to be beeped out, but the murder will be watchable. People will be shocked. Would you mind your language, please? Oh, sorry, it's just like, I watched a bloke I know getting murdered on the street. Yes, well, there's no need to be discourteous.
Fuck! Motherfucker!
Oh my God!
Motherfucker!
Oh my God!
In a climate where billions of dollars of military equipment is being transferred from the military to the police force, it's like there's a surplus, a surfeit of weaponry. It's almost like you've got to do something with it. We've got all these weapons, what could we do? We could start shooting people that don't show up on statistics or vote or really have any relevance. Yeah, okay, let's do that with it then.
They just killed that man! Just shot that motherfucking man like that!
Since 2006, local law enforcement in the US have acquired 435 armoured vehicles, 533 military aircraft and 93,000 machine guns. That's the police force. What are they preparing for? The trend of militarising local police force continued over the past several decades, with communities of colour bearing the brunt of most military policing. So the ongoing Ferguson protest is a demonstration of an underlying current of disempowerment of certain members of the community. That in instances like this, where it's like, where you can make it about an individual, a disempowered individual, a black homeless man, got no purchase, no political, none of us have any real power, but this is at the extreme end of it, where you're literally disposable. Homelessness is one of those sort of white noise problems of modern society. You sort of ignore it, you tune it out. In America, there are 600,000 homeless people on any given night, and in 2013, there were 48,000 Iraq and Afghanistan veterans that were sleeping on the streets homeless. Why I find that particularly galling is because of the whooped up sentimentality and patriotic fervour around a film like American Sniper, where everyone's clamouring to support, or in our country, Britain, Poppy Day. You know, and it's no different here. Once people have been spent through military service, they are meaningless. There's no ongoing programmes or meaningful ongoing programmes to take care of them. If there were, you wouldn't have 48,000 people that have fought in Iraq and Afghanistan on the street. These men are heroes, these men, hey, support our troops, man, support our troops. You support your troops.
And it's 9 motherfucking police out there. God damn it. Ain't nobody got no fucking guns. That man is dead now. That man is dead.
And then some statistics around police violence that are really shocking. More people have been killed by the police in America than troops killed abroad in the Iraq War. So more people have died in America at the hands of the police than have been killed fighting ISIS and Saddam and all of those enemies that we're told to be frightened of. And further to that terrifying statistic, Americans are 8 times more likely to be killed by a local police officer than a terrorist. Think about how much time you spend reading about terrorists, worrying about terrorists. You are 8 times more likely to be killed by a police officer. So if you see a police officer on one side of the street and 7 terrorists on that side of the street, go that way, you're much safer. We didn't do any research on what the racial bearing is on that statistic, whether you're more likely to be killed if you're black or white, because we thought it was kind of obvious. If you want more information on that, you could look out of your window.
American civil rights activist Jahi Issa says that U.S. police are almost like a private army having no concerns for the law of the country.
And of course, 95% of police officers that perpetrate these crimes against Americans go unpunished. So what is the true news? The true news is that military equipment is being transferred to domestic local police forces. Soldiers that fight for corporations abroad once they get home are discarded and irrelevant and redundant. And our social values have become so bewildered and lost. The stories we're told by media are so false and erroneous that we aren't aware that we're under more risk of violence and murder from domestic police forces in America than foreign armies or terrorists. So the true news is this: we need a revolution. We need massive fundamental change, because if that's the truth, then none of us is safe. Subscribe here.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the nose. If the nose was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.